John Wayne Gacy. Interesting serial killer that we're going to jump into the mind to today. Someone who had the highest kill count for any serial murderer in American history. Today we're going to jump into the mind of this killer clown to see why he did what he did. You're listening to the Raspy Apple Podcast.
So, welcome back to another In the Mind of series. We're back again, episode 3. Rewatch the other ones if you want, they're there. We have a playlist for them, In the Mind of series. Yeah. So basically we're going to hop in, John Wayne Gacy. Okay, so, John Wayne Gacy, born in 1942, Chicago, Illinois. Pretty the area, I suppose.
Yeah, pretty, normal
I'd
area.
like to talk about the area first because, like, most of these serial killers, they don't really come from
these crazy backgrounds.
Yeah, they don't. Yeah. They really don't.
I mean, Chicago in the 40s, it was mostly booming with the car industry, I think. So, it wasn't a bad place to be raised. It wasn't, anywhere crazy, but the thing you have to look at sometimes, it's not only the area, it's the household. Looking with Gacy, it's his father played a big part in him turning out the way he did.
Yep.
Reports go back, he was beaten with a razor blade and a belt.
His mother got her teeth knocked out by the father.
Yeah.
There was one time when John was a bit older when he stepped in to help his mom and he got bet up.
He got bet up so hard one time, right? That his heart gave out and he had to get rushed to the hospital. He passed out.
I've seen, he went to the hospital and his dad used to think he was faking.
Yeah. And his heart got so bad that he could never even play sports again, which was one of the really big things that his father wanted him to do. He really wanted him to play sports. And he was just what you have to say, he was just an abusive parent. He was just horribly treating his son because he wasn't living up to his standards, right? So you have to think about that kind of upbringing, right?
And this father was more pushy than most, and more. Okay, he was very homophobic, but more homophobic than your casual 1940s resident. You get me? Yeah,
he always used to call his son
gay.
Yeah, really really bad names to him. To a child. Very derogatory names. Because he wasn't living up to the standard that he thought his son should be doing, and it's fine to have standards for your children, but there's a point where it goes too far, right? And that kind of broke him, I think. And he was always trying to please his father, but also trying to establish a relationship with some kind of male figure. And we see this a lot in serial killers. Usually they go after women because there's a bad relationship with their mother, and they're trying to find usually some kind of action that's going to kind of, satisfy their not only sexual needs, right?
Yeah.
But
also
their
hatred.
Yeah, their frustration, right? So they find someone who fits the description.
Exactly.
And Gacy did that with men.
With men because of his father.
Exactly.
Can I just say, Gacy was a middle child.
Oh wow.
We've seen this with Gary Ridgway.
So you think maybe he wasn't even getting the attention that he would have wanted to get from his mother either?
I mean, he was the only boy, so there was attention there.
Okay.
But
still though.
We've seen with Ramirez also that his father
abused him,
just like Gacy's father.
So yeah, his upbringing's
we're
kind of
seeing
a pattern.
Patterns.
Yeah. He's like a merging of the two.
Yeah, kind of.
That's crazy.
Now, the middle child one is a stretch.
Yeah,
but it's
there.
Yeah, it's there.
That's crazy. So and Gacy was bullied horribly in school. Because he was obese, right? His heart, like we said, gave out, so he couldn't really do anything sports wise.
Bro, that's tough. To be
it's
young
very
and
tough.
Your heart giving out like
that. That's so tough because you don't even think about how much stuff you do, and you don't even think about it.
That shouldn't be a life-threatening factor in your life at that age.
I know, at least you have at least 50, 60 years to wait for that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
like you're supposed to anyway. But yeah, his childhood was really really tough. So we see, he kind of grows up.
He dropped out of school actually.
Yeah, he drops out of school, but he becomes like a local politician, right? Yeah. And this is strange because we also know that Gacy was molested as a child by one of his father's friends, a construction worker. And usually...
He didn't want to tell his father because his father wouldn't believe him.
Exactly. Yeah, and even if he did, he'd probably think, you're a sissy for letting that happen.
Yeah.
So, that's crazy. But, usually when we see people who, got molested or went through abuse, usually they're not so, ready to get back into the public eye, right? Usually they kind of retreat into themselves, from what I find, right? Because they build a shell around themselves because they don't want to get hurt again.
The majority shell into themselves.
Exactly, which is fair, right? But we see a completely opposite thing with him. He gets into the public eye, he has a local office, gets married to a woman, which I think was mostly to satiate his father.
Kind of tries to live a normal life.
Exactly, tries to, the normal
Just like
life.
Gary.
Just like Gary.
Just like Gary. Like,
he tried to live a normal life, have the kid. He actually had a kid.
Did he?
And that was the first time the father said he was proud of him, right?
Oh, I didn't see. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like that was the first time the father said he was proud, and I was wrong, right?
Yeah.
And what we didn't know that throughout this whole time of him being a local politician, hosting all these parties for his constituents and everything, he was prowling for other men and especially other boys.
Okay.
What he used to do is he used to hold swingers parties, right? And basically what that means is, especially in the 60s, this whole free love movement was going on. Married couples would switch spouses for the night, right?
Okay.
So
it's for the swingers party.
Yeah. So he would host these, and that made him so popular in the town.
Okay.
Right? So, they switch spouses and everything, doing that.
Well, is it like a date thing?
Yeah, they all show up and say, "You're my wife," and I see someone else's wife. Will you go with that guy's?
Okay.
Yeah. So we kind of switch spouses. Yeah. Which is swingers clubs and things. I think they still happen today, but they were really big in this kind of era. But one time, right? While everyone's doing the swingers club, he goes and he finds one of the guy's son, right?
Okay.
And he forces the son to have oral sex on him. And he threatens him, and this is like a 15, 16-year-old boy.
Damn.
And he threatens him and says, if you ever tell anyone, right, I'll get the mafia to kill your parents and you.
Ooh.
And he gives him $50 to not tell. Like, that has to be such a just traumatizing
Is that his first...
That's his first
sentence
kind of big one, yeah.
Yeah, that's 1968.
Yeah, and he gets
sexually assaulted a young boy, and he was sent to Iowa State Men's Reformatory.
Exactly.
And he was sentenced 10 years, out in 2.
Out in 2 for good behavior. And this is the guy who beat someone's brains in prison because he saw them having oral sex.
Sometimes this is the police's fault.
Do you think so? Explain that.
I mean, sexual assault, terrible thing to happen.
Of course. Especially on another boy.
But good behavior and you're let out? Nah.
Yeah.
That's
not really the police. That's like the prison warden in them. That's the prison system. Like the police.
Yeah.
The police aren't the police just the ones investigating and arresting?
But don't police work in prisons?
Corrections officers, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. They're probably trained in a prison instead of...
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But you're right, though. Like, it's the same kind of thing.
Yeah.
But, but like, especially when it's like, it's a 16-year-old boy. Like, we're not talking about a man. We're not talking about, anything like that.
That does something to it. Creepy best.
Like, apparently the kid was traumatized. Like, he was just different, which is fair.
Yeah.
And he waited, like, obviously when they found out. But he just broke down one day and told his parents. He just broke down.
The kid?
The kid, yeah. And that's why the only reason... Like, if the kid didn't tell anyone, no one would have found out.
Bro, I heard a detail about Gary or Gacy that... I don't know if it's real, but... He worked in... I think it was like a funeral home.
Oh, really?
You know where all the bodies are?
Yeah.
Or like... What would you call them?
Like a mortician? Like he was a mortician?
Kinda, yeah.
Or a morgue? He was in a morgue?
Now, I don't know where I seen this, but apparently he got into the coffins with the people.
Yeah, I saw that.
And started fondling with them.
Yeah, I saw that as
well.
well.
Dead bodies. And, yeah.
Apparently, he apparently, I heard a story as well that to kind of take away his urges to go with other men, he used to fondle dead bodies.
Necrophilia.
Yeah, necrophilia, yeah. And, because you have to think about it, he's trying to stay, faithful to his wife. He's trying to live this normal life.
Actually, going to the wife, did he have a son or daughter?
I don't know. I think he had a son.
Now, that's why I think the dad was proud of him.
Probably.
I feel like if he had a daughter...
Maybe
he did have a daughter, I don't know.
Yeah.
But if he did have a daughter, I don't think his dad would have been proud.
I was proud of him. Because I think he was proud of him mainly because he, like, married a woman, had a kid. Yeah. Like, I think that's
a son, yeah. And back then...
Yeah. Well, it's not nothing wrong with wanting to have a son. But
no, but I feel like the dad just...
The dad would have been one of those types, yeah. Yeah, 100%. But, yeah, we just see Gary progressing, but the strange thing in the 60s, right, it's such a different time than it is now. Yeah. Because after Gary gets out of prison, he just moves back to his hometown.
Chicago.
And everyone there just remembers him as the fat, goofy kid who couldn't do anything. Like, there's no internet. There's no, like...
Well, where was he before this?
I can't remember. I think he moved to Washington or something. Like, he moved...
Okay.
Or he moved to another state.
Okay.
And he did all that, bad stuff there.
Yeah.
But when he got out, it's not like now where you could look someone up type thing. No one knew who he was. No one knew, like, the crimes he committed. So he moves in. He divorced... His wife divorced him, obviously, after the sexual assault imprisonment. And I think there's a thing in America where if your spouse goes to prison, you can just divorce them. You don't need, they both don't need to sign.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah, which is fair.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah, so he moves back to his hometown. Everyone doesn't know what he's done. And he marries a new woman, right? And her dad owns this chain of KFCs, Kentucky Fried Chicken restaurants.
He was like a manager there, was he?
No, Gacy was a manager there. He asked the father to be a manager there. And this should be, like, one of the most strange things. He was asked, why do you want to be a manager at KFC?
Yeah.
And he said, so I can have control over other people. Like, he wanted to actually...
Any other person, that's a fair answer, I suppose.
I guess, but, like...
I mean, like, it's bad to, like, have control over people. But some people just feel like they're a dictator, I suppose, you know what I mean?
But, like,
they have that authoritarian figure.
But that's fair because they don't want to have control over people just for the sake of hurting them. They want to, like, have control over people because they think they probably can do a better job or they have better ideas. Yeah. This guy just wanted control over people to, almost in a fetish way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely a fetish. Like, yeah.
But we see during this time he started cruising. And he'd been cruising before, but cruising was basically when homosexual men back in the 50s and 60s would kind of wait either in a park or an alleyway or something like that and wait for another men to kind of, approach them. And they would have, intercourse.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's weird.
That's a weird...
It's strange. And they would never speak to each other again. Right?
Okay, yeah.
But it's strange in the fact, because you didn't know this person. Right? That's dangerous, first of all. Right?
Very dangerous, don't do that.
But what Gacy used to start doing was, he used to start approaching people, and he approached this one kid, I think he was only like 17, right? On like a road trip back to his family's for Christmas.
Okay.
He thought this would just be another cruise. The kid did. Had sex with Gary. Ended up knifed in the bottom of his house.
Oh, this is the first body.
This is the first body.
Okay, yeah. And interesting enough, the last body they found.
Wow, really? Yeah. Because it would have been on the bottom.
Yep.
Wow, yeah. Mm-hmm. So what Gary used to do, we used to kind of lure people to his house. Stab them.
Bro, did you say it was like a spur of the moment thing? Like, actually, I'm with a 17-year-old, I'm gonna kill him.
I think the whole thing was a spur of the moment thing because we see he kind of hated giving into his urges. He kind of hated doing that. He wanted to kind of like stay with his wife, whether it was for optics, whether it was for other people. But he kind of seemed to hate that whenever he kind of gave in to that kind of urge. But
just a question, real quick: do you think that Gacy, would have not killed the boys and men if he had have stayed with the wife?
I think if he actually fell in love with the wife.
Do you think they were in love?
I don't think so. No. I think he just married her
just for the dad,
for the optics, yeah.
Happy, yeah.
And also when you're a politician, like having a wife, being unmarried is sometimes
trophy wife, I suppose. Yeah.
Beard almost.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah, it's like. I don't like one of the this is jumping ahead a bit, but one of the psychiatrists who interviewed him at his trial said that he thought he was beyond saving. And people usually don't like to say that because they want to have an optimistic view of how you can maybe rehabilitate someone. Mm-hmm. But in this case, like, it kind of seemed he was kind of like beyond saving.
He was gone, really.
He was gone because, like, there's a reason they called him the killer clown. And that is, he would dress up in a clown suit, paint his face, makeup and everything, and kill people in almost an alter ego.
Yeah.
Like, he's the inspiration for It and Pennywise. He's the inspiration for all these clown demons that we see.
Yeah.
Like, he made clowns scary. Like, he's the reason why, like, we have all these representations of clowns being these kind of psychomaniacs. Because, again, he used to prowl, show up at hospitals and birthday parties. Now, he wouldn't always, abduct kids and kill them, but
no.
He was definitely doing some pedophilic stuff.
Definitely, yeah.
So, but like we see, like, he went on a killing spree. He had bodies and bodies and bodies.
Just imagine, though, getting to a stage where your basement, or not even your basement, your trench underneath your house is full.
Funny story about that trench, though. he killed so many bodies doing this cruising and luring stuff. And one time he held a boy at gunpoint, made him do stuff on him.
Okay.
And said, if you run away or anything, I'll shoot you. And he ended up killing him anyway.
Oh,
it's crazy.
Yeah,
but he went home and he was seeing that he didn't have enough space in his basement, right? And so he needed help to dig it out. So he got a traveling worker, right? Usually, like, these guys are freelance. They traveled around America at this time to see if anyone needed farm hands or anything like that. Yeah. So he got one of these guys, and
damn.
Yeah, he helped him dig into his basement. Now, the guy didn't know what it was for. He just thought, we were doing something on the pipes or digging like a basement.
But did he not see anything, no?
Gary made sure he didn't go to the places where the bodies were.
Okay.
Right? So Gary he marked them off, right? So this guy was digging the new basement and everything, helping Gary make more space for what he didn't know would be people's resting place, right? And Gacy comes in, fully made up, clown suit, and comes in on the guy. Now, the guy thought this was a joke, right? So he was like saying, Gacy, what are you doing,
Yeah.
And Gacy, he's talking in this weird voice, this clown voice, alter ego. And he says, let's play a game. So he handcuffs your man. Now, your man's going along with it at first because he's thinking it's a joke, right?
But it's like a performance from the
Yeah. So, but as soon as Gacy handcuffs him, he starts singing in a clown voice.
Oh, no.
I'm gonna rape you. I'm gonna rape you.
Damn.
Now, just imagine yourselves in that position. You're handcuffed.
Oh.
This guy's in a clown makeup.
I'd feel like I'm dead.
Honestly. And he had, I think he had a gun or a knife on him, making sure he didn't escape. So Gacy's in full clown makeup, singing this crazy, perverse song, and your guy's shitting himself. He's like, what am I gonna do here?
Yeah.
So somehow he kicks Gacy, makes Gacy kind of fall down to the ground, and escapes.
My God.
Now, I think this is the only one who we know of,
that escaped
who he was trying to kill, because I don't think he was trying to kill the first guy,
okay,
like the 16-year-old.
Yeah.
But this is the only one who he didn't do anything to, right? Like he escaped before anything happened, but he was so embarrassed. He was so traumatized by it.
Nobody wants to talk about it.
He didn't say anything. And my thing is, you could have saved 30 lives if you would have said something.
Well, was this midway through?
Yeah, this was like midway. Like, this wasn't at the end. Like, this was
33 bodies altogether. So maybe
he could have saved 15.
16.
Yeah, he could have saved half of them.
Yeah.
But no, and because I think that's Gacy. I think that's what Gacy played off. Gacy played off fear. Gacy played off embarrassment. Gacy played off shame.
Oh, definitely embarrassment. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what a lot of abusers do. They say, oh, no one's gonna believe you, or if you come out, you'll be looked at as something less than human.
Yeah, especially being a man.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because
there's definitely some people that couldn't speak up.
Yeah, exactly. Especially when it's another man going.
Yeah, that's
because it kind of emasculates you.
Definitely.
Right, because you're kind of seeing.
You feel that way as well.
Yeah, you feel, and then you're made to feel that way. But there's a kernel of truth to it, because it's like you're getting abused by this guy, and he's like, it's his fault, yes, but at the same time, as a man, you just can't help to feel like, fuck, I could have done something. You know what I mean?
There's always situations, not even murder situations, but in your life where you're like, damn, I wish I said that.
Yeah, exactly.
Damn, I wish I did that.
So, it's just sometimes it's man's nature to be like, I should have done something, or I should have been harder, or should have, stood up more.
Yeah, he's a piece of shit.
Yeah, honestly.
Terrible.
But it's so crazy because we see serial killers, right? They usually imprint, right, on their victims. We saw this with Ramirez, the Night Stalker. He kind of took his anger out, on everybody. But
your door's open, your window's open.
Exactly,
he's in there. Yeah.
Right. We saw that with Gacy. Problem with his father led him to go at men. But the strangest thing with me with Gacy is, and this is the thing I find so strange, is that he maintains his innocence.
Yeah.
When he was arrested, right? Mm-hmm. They had so much evidence on him. They found the bodies,
all of them,
in the house, right?
Did you say there was more?
Oh yeah. Well, he only got charged with 16 murders, but he admitted to 33. Sorry, he didn't admit to 33, but they found he did 33.
I thought they found all 33 now.
They might have.
Okay.
But he was only charged with 16. But they probably found 33. You're right. But he maintains his innocence. He says the bodies were there. He didn't know about them.
Yeah.
And he just says he didn't do anything. Now the funny thing was, someone was interviewing him outside of the court steps or something, and they showed him the face of one of the kids that was missing.
Yeah.
And they said, "Do you know what happened to this one?" And he responded, "No, that's one I didn't kill." Now that's a slip of the tongue if I've ever heard it. No, that's
that's just trying to give.
Yeah.
He's like, no, but I'm smarter than you. You get me?
Yeah. And like he tried to backtrack and he was all like, "Oh no, I didn't mean that." No, but like he literally said, "Oh no, that's one I didn't kill."
Did he do a polygraph?
He did, and he failed it. He thought he you know what the crazy thing is? He was so confident. He said, "Oh yeah, I'll do a polygraph. I'll pass it." You can't beat it. Like unless you're really, really good, you cannot beat a polygraph.
Yeah, you have to be.
Like you have to be X.
Yeah, you have to be really insane.
Yeah, you have to be really insane. Or you have to train for it. Like there's ways to train for it, but you can't just go in blind thinking you're gonna pass a polygraph.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's maintained his innocence this whole time.
This is the part where I kind of like don't know much, like how he got caught. Do you know how he got caught? Was it just like police came into his house, or a plumber even?
Yeah, so it was strange how he actually got caught in the end. So there was a missing persons report filed on Piest, which is the kind of the first victim he did, and he was found in what is it called?
Des Plaines River.
Des Plaines River Valley. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And he was found there. He's a 15-year-old boy, and obviously they're gonna start searching. It's a child, right?
Yeah.
A missing child is always a big case.
Oh, definitely.
So they look at the people in the area and they look at some criminal records, and Gacy comes up because he had an outstanding charge for battery on another young boy,
and in 1968.
Yeah, and a prior conviction, for sexual assault.
Yeah.
So they're one of his kind of first suspects. So they get a first search warrant because there's enough probable cause there to search.
Yeah.
And they come into Gacy's house and they find some strange stuff which would kind of point to him kind of being, connected to this kind of behavior.
Yeah.
Right? They find some, pornographic materials that are homosexual. They find, sexual toys that are used usually for women, but he's using them.
Damn.
So everything that kind of points that he's not adverse to the kind of behavior which someone who killing the boy, having been sexually assaulted would be open to, right? So that's the first thing. And then they don't really find any proof, so they obviously they
put him on surveillance.
Yeah, exactly, right? And on this, they investigate him. They find that he's very open-minded.
Is this surveillance where they put that thing on his ankle?
No. That's house arrest. Surveillance, basically, they kind of stake him out. They investigate.
Know where he is.
Yeah, they talk to him. Sometimes they bug them. You know what I mean? Like obviously.
His vehicles and all that. Yeah.
They're not going to admit to us if they do that or not. But
yeah.
They probably do.
Happens.
Yeah. If a judge says you can do it, usually you can.
Yeah.
So yeah, they investigate him, and they see that he's very open-minded to this stuff like that, and he's just an odd fellow, right? That has interests that would line up with the killer of this 15-year-old boy, right?
Yeah, his character is very strange.
Exactly.
It's not your normal single divorced kind of guy.
And a crazy thing that happened was when he actually invited some investigators in, and he said to them, "Clowns get away with murder," which has to be so eerie.
Yeah, that's alarm bells.
Because you dress up with clowns, and we all know the saying, "Oh, you get away with murder," but I bet he said it in a way that left a door open. So, what am I really talking about, right?
Bro, so things like that, you just don't talk.
Yeah,
just don't say things like that.
But I think he was a narcissist. I think he thought he was going to get away with it.
Of course,
right?
Yeah.
Like
they all do.
Yeah, he thinks he's innocent in his head. But the crazy thing was, after this kind of surveillance period, he comes in this drunken state to his lawyer, and basically, he's drunk. He's not acting in his right mind, and he confesses in a kind of roundabout way. Gacy looks at the newspaper, and the front story is the missing boy. And he says, "You see that boy in the front cover? He's dead, and he's in the river." Now, how would you know?
What do you do as a lawyer?
That's the thing. There's a thing called attorney-client privilege, but at the same time, I don't think the lawyer was worried about.
What's that? Where you can turn on them, kind of?
No, attorney-client privilege means that usually, if you say something to your lawyer, it can't be used against you, like say as a court of law or something like that, right?
Oh, okay.
It
can't go against you, I suppose.
But there is certain times where that doesn't work.
Yeah.
Right. This was probably one of these times.
Damn.
Yeah, so he kind of, and he's drunkenly confessing about killing all these boys, and it's so strange because he kind of passes off the boys as, male prostitutes and vagrants and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So he's kind of almost justifying his mind, like, oh, they were going to die anyway, so I killed them, right?
Yeah.
Which is not true.
No.
So, yeah, he's drunkenly kind of confessing to his lawyer, and, yeah, this kind of spurs a whole thing. There's a second search warrant.
Yeah.
And the second search warrant is really when,
Shit goes down.
Yeah, it really goes down.
Hits the fan, really.
He was facing a civil case already before the criminal case. And the search warrant into his house just reveals so much. Like, Daniel Gacy, one of the officers investigating, he came into the house and he looked in the kitchen and he saw what was human hair sticking out from the floor in a bit, right? And he takes his flashlight and he kind of opens it up and looks. And he finds a body that's almost in a state of decomposition, but the body's kind of turned into like a lard-type substance. Like it's kind of gone into limescale.
The moisture and everything under there.
And
because under there wasn't really, it wasn't like built up. It was just muck, wasn't it?
Yeah, you have to remember.
He basically dug trenches.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it.
And you have to remember the moisture there because it's a kitchen, right?
Yeah.
Like you're gonna be doing all this
There's
stuff with
pipes
water.
going underground.
Exactly.
There's pipes coming up from the ground.
And Gacy just finds all these bodies.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, it's crazy how this happened because if he didn't do that drunken kind of confession saying, I know where the boy is, he's dead in the river, would he have ever gotten caught? Probably, but it's not for certain.
He probably would have got away longer.
Yeah, exactly.
That guy who, remember that farmhand worker? He would have...
Yeah, he probably would have came out.
He would have came out.
And he did come out, but not soon enough, but still he did.
No.
But the thing is with that, when looking at how Gacy got caught, right? I mean, red-handed.
Yeah.
I just feel like he has to be having a narcissistic personality disorder to think that he can have the power to fool people to still say he's innocent. Because he maintains it. And
do you think he... What would you say? Not trying to impress his father, but... How would you say it?
You think he's still trying to say he's not, homosexual? Just to,
yeah, just... He's showing his masculinity by performing. Well, this is what he thinks. It's not masculine at all. Don't do it.
I don't even see. The thing is, even if his father was dead at this time, he still probably is so traumatized by it that he still would act.
Because his dad was an ass.
He probably just didn't want to accept it. Because again, we see like he didn't really like what he was doing. Even without the murder, he didn't like giving in to his urges. So it's like. Yeah, he may have just said, I'm innocent because he didn't want to accept the truth.
Yeah.
That's a really sad position to be in because not only for you, I don't really care about you, I care about the victims. Because, unless you confess, really, they're never going to get closure. Like, as much as you prove it, like, you really need to hear the person say it. Because then you're not remorseful. Then you really, then it's really like, well, so you don't even care that you killed my brother. You don't even care that you killed my son. You don't even care that you traumatized my son for all his life because you were, messed up in the head.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing with people who are abused. It's not your fault that you're abused. Never blame the abused. But it is your fault when you start acting out, right? So, we can say, it's fair enough that you've been abused and we see why you did something, but that doesn't excuse behavior. When you, this might be a hot take, but when you start...
I see where you're coming from.
You know what I mean? I just don't think it's a good excuse to say, well, I was abused, now I'm going to abuse.
You don't do that.
Yeah. So, and again, I've never been in that position. I can't really speak on it from a point of experience. But,
yeah, we're ignorant towards that.
But again,
topic, yeah.
I just that doesn't.
I see where you're coming from, though. Yeah. Don't always practice what is preached.
Yeah, exactly. Like it is a really tough situation to be in, but I just don't know how he can sit there and say. And a lot of people have speculated, like, what actually does he have? Like, does he have multiple personality disorder because the clown was kind of an alter ego? Does he have, is he a sociopath? Is he a psychopath? Does he feel
good
emotion?
Questions. They're all good questions.
And, he does line up with the stereotypical serial killer, right?
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
But at the same time, he's almost a bit more messed up than that because the dressing up in the clown suit, the strange voice.
Yeah, even being a middle-aged man dressed up as a clown, it's kind of...
It's suspect, isn't it?
Clowns altogether, I just think, should be a statue, even. They shouldn't be played by humans because it's just you. Okay, some kids are scared of clowns, but some people gain trust.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, they
no, it's like because you're in a position of familiarity. It's like a teacher. It's like a baseball coach or anything.
yeah.
It's not even a position of power. It's just like that person is not supposed to hurt you. That person's supposed to make you laugh or make you learn or coach you in something. So you're a bit more open than you would be with other strangers.
Exactly. Yeah.
And he exploited that. Like I can't believe like people used to say Gacy's great with kids, and they didn't realize that he was a monster underneath that clown suit.
Yeah, but that's the thing with all these serial killers. They always kind of
they're normal people.
They track their steps.
But no, the crazy thing is they're normal people. Like when we think of like serial killers, we think of like the big genociders, like the dictators and like the Mansons. Like we think of like people who are really just messed in the head.
Yeah.
When sometimes it's just the most normal guys who are. It's all
Normal,
hidden.
yeah.
Okay, not normal, but like seemingly normal on the surface.
Yeah.
On the
Manipulative.
Surface. Yes. Yes. Like it's just so crazy to think that this could happen under everyone's noses. Like in his basement where his wife lived and his kids lived, he's putting bodies. Like getting other people to
like he was a big guy, so if you're getting underneath there to like
that's effort.
Like the body's not crawling in by itself.
Yeah, exactly.
He has to get in there.
Like
do
that's
the dirty.
effort. And bodies are heavy. Like I know he went after kids, but still.
I mean, it's weight.
Yeah.
Yeah. And my God, let's get on to the trial.
Mm.
So he was caught. I think he plea bargained.
Yeah, I think he.
I believe so.
This was a time when the death penalty was, rampant. Like it's not like today where different states. Really.
I have a question actually to do with the whole thing. So, remember Gary Ridgway?
Mm.
If you haven't seen the video, go watch it because it might not make sense to you now. But the way he was caught in a later date, 2003.
Yeah, he was caught 10 years afterwards.
Yeah. So he was caught in 2003, and he plea bargained, and he got away with death sentence.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think if Gacy got caught the same time as Gary Ridgway,
mm-hmm.
do you think he would have got away with death penalty?
Yeah, see, that's the thing. He died by lethal injection, I think.
Yeah. And
the reason I think people were never going to not let him get the death penalty is because of just the overly evil acts he did.
Really?
Like, with I know this sounds horrible, right? But with Gacy, he kind of did the normal serial killer stuff. Like, he went after the runaway girls, he went after the prostitutes.
You were talking about Ridgway?
Yeah, Ridgway.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he kind of did what you expect of a serial killer.
Okay.
Which is horrible to say, because we shouldn't even expect anything of a serial killer.
No, you shouldn't. No.
But for degrees of evil, right? His isn't really that messed up, right? Like, it's not like something crazy or
in
disgusting.
comparison to Gacy.
Exactly. What I'm saying is in comparison
Gacy was
to Gacy,
ruthless. Gary Ridgway was just messed up, as you said.
Like
he had mommy issues.
Yeah, exactly. That's why he went after women. But Gacy going after young boys, dressing up as a clown, killing people whether they did it or not, singing "I'm gonna rape you" in weird clown voices. Like, people are not gonna even look at that sympathetically.
Not at all. No. No.
Even with Gary, it's a stretch to look at him sympathetically.
Well, he never gave away emotion until he was forgiven.
Exactly. And the thing is, the juries look at this. Gacy still says he's innocent, right? Like I think the only reason
he does, and he believed he was not gonna die by lethal injection. He thought he was superior.
Didn't he survive though? 2 lethal injections.
He had to get 3.
Yeah,
but I don't know if he survived. He was probably knocked unconscious.
No, but still, he didn't die, which is crazy.
3 lethal injections.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Big guy.
Yeah, right.
Damn.
But no, my thing is with this, people really hate when people don't confess to the crimes they know you committed, because again, it's not for us, it's for the victims. They need closure. Yeah. If anything else,
victims' families.
Exactly. They've already taken
the communities. Yeah. Exactly,
bro. So that's why I think he got the death penalty. And we have to remember, again, this is the 80s he got caught, the 70s, the 80s. He got lethal injection in 94, but I think he got caught in the 80s. People didn't play around. Maybe the 70s even. I'm not actually sure on that. Yeah, but death row takes a long time, so I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah. But people didn't play around. No. People did not play around. You know what the sad thing? There were still people outside. Yeah. His death sentence.
Yeah,
Yeah.
outside of the prison.
Yeah.
After him getting lethal injection, they held candles because obviously some people don't believe in death penalty.
Yeah, it's fair.
Yeah, but it was just weird seeing two different groups.
Yeah, like we see that a lot in America with the death penalty. It's strange because on one hand, you have people saying, you should get what you deserve.
Yeah.
You killed over 30 people.
But is it justice doing something?
Do two wrongs make a right?
Yeah.
Right? Again, like we always say with
for the families, it is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I always say this, right? It's very easy for me to sit here and say the sanctity of life is the most important, which I believe. I don't think anybody should die just because, even if they kill another person. But at the same time, if
it's not my mom.
It's not my mom. It's not my dad.
Yeah.
If my sister or my brother was killed, I can't sit here and say, well, it's the sanctity of life. Like it's different when you're not pulling the trigger. Like it's so easy when, say, do you want the death penalty, and you're the family and you say yes. Yeah. You don't have to do any work.
Yeah.
Right? You've already been through all this trauma, so why forgive them, right?
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah.
I mean, I do believe it's in our best human interest to forgive because that's the best thing we can do. But at the same time, I don't know if I could do it in that situation. So why should I expect anyone else to?
So Gacy got charged, even though he was plea bargaining.
Yeah.
But sentenced to life or no?
Well,
sorry.
The reason people think like a plea bargain means that he admitted to the crimes. I think more so it was he's not going to contest the crimes, right? Like a no contest.
Yeah. He's just going to bounce off whatever they say.
So like he's not going to like he wasn't pleading innocence, right?
No,
he was just not contesting.
Till the day he died, he thought he was innocent, and he just what a guy, you know that?
Yeah, that's one way to put it.
He's so messed up. Interesting fact: his last meal.
What is his last meal actually? That's crazy.
He ordered fried shrimp.
Okay.
French fries.
Okay.
A pound of strawberries.
A pound of strawberries?
And a bucket of KFC chicken.
That's weird. That's so weird.
Everything but the fried
Apparently
shrimp.
he was a really good cook, like at the KFC chicken. Yeah, apparently people loved his food.
Actually, you live by the sword, you die by the sword.
If you live by the sword,
he worked in KFC, didn't he?
Yeah, he died at KFC. It's full circle.
Damn. Question for you is, if you were on death row, what's your last meal?
That's a sick question. If I was on death row, what would be my last meal? That's tough. That is really tough. I would have to say a hamburger. Like a nice, juicy beef burger with cheese, bacon.
You can add on to that, though. It can't just be that. Like, you can get a drink. What do you want?
Milkshake.
Milkshake?
Yeah. Actually, no. I want a nice root beer float. Like a nice root beer float.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Like a ginger beer float, yeah.
Some last meals are crazy though.
Yeah, you know what I'd love to do. I'd love to like get like caviar or something. Like, cause don't they have to give you last meal? Like, don't they have to give you anything you want?
Yeah.
Like I think so.
Apparently, yeah.
So it's like, yeah, give me caviar and truffles. Like,
but Gacy was charged with 33 counts of murder.
Yeah. Wow.
And most bodies were found underneath his house.
Yeah, he only dumped a few like in the river.
And the rest were Des Plaines area. And he died in 1994 in Stateville Correctional Center in Crest Hill, Illinois.
Yeah.
Interesting fact.
Very interesting, and it's very interesting to also see how the American justice system plays out, because he committed these crimes in like the 60s and 70s, and he didn't get the death penalty in like the 90s.
He is probably the farthest back we go in our series.
Yeah,
so
really.
Far. Yeah.
Because Ramirez is in the 80s. Gacy's in the 80s.
80s, 90s, yeah.
So, like, this guy was born in the 40s.
Yeah.
Like, that's 80 years ago.
I mean, he was probably 3 during the war.
That's insane.
When the war ended.
Yeah.
Think about that.
He was alive during World War II, yeah. Yeah, it just shows you that, with a society such as America, when, you're building up the population so well, right? Like, you're getting so much wealth. It just makes you wonder why people still commit so many crimes in such heinous natures. Like, we're not talking about a third world country. We're not talking about, like, a war leader or anything. We're not talking about, like, people who have to fight for survive. This is just criminal behavior for the pleasure. It's
like a bandage that just keeps falling off.
Yeah, like
they're just like, oh well, there was another serial killer, but
let's let it slide.
He's just another name,
Yeah, like I don't think we're actually looking at the root of the issue. We're not actually seeing what makes these people, do this. And I think that's a lot of things. We kind of just demonize the killers, where they deserve all the hate they get, but just because they deserve all the hate doesn't mean we should try, to not see why they did it and see if we can stop future people from doing it. So yeah, guys, John Wayne Gacy, the killer clown. Tell us your thoughts, in the comments below. Tell us
interesting character.
Yeah.
To say the least, yeah.
Like, do you think that if he was, maybe born 20 or 30 years later, would he have not gotten the death penalty? What do you guys think about his situation? Do you think, his childhood really has that big of an effect and is a reason why we can say,
Is he the worst serial killer we've
I think he's the
touched,
I think he's the most grotesque.
touched on, yeah.
I think he is. Because with Night Stalker, he's very bad, he's brutal, and he's horrible.
Yeah.
But at the very least, I can say he didn't kill kids as much. Like at the very least, he left the kids alone. Like, he might have molested them, which is horrible again. But
It's terrible, yeah.
The court,
He didn't kill...
Yeah, he didn't kill the kids.
Yeah.
Like, most of his victims were older. And like, it's horrible when you see a 20 or 30-year-old girl getting killed, but at least they weren't kids. With this guy, like, he just didn't care.
Do you have any questions? Anything?
My only question for you would be, if you knew John Wayne Gacy in real life,
Yeah.
do you think you would have realized that he was the killer clown? Like, if you were just his neighbor or something, or like his
I think
friend.
maybe I would have had a hunch. I don't know if I would have brought it up to him.
Like, do you think you would just been like a weird guy? Like, but
Yeah,
yeah.
Come on, he came across so weird.
But you wouldn't think he was a serial killer. Because that really interests me. Like, you can live next door to one of these people and never know and never realize.
You can walk through the capital city of your country.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're at least walking past maybe one.
Wow, that's crazy.
Like,
That's insane.
yeah, it is strange. He just tricked everybody.
And because he was so charismatic. Like, he was so charismatic. He was a local politician. He was the manager of KFC. He was even, like, in prison like that one time. He was, like, a part of the JC group.
But, like, you walk into McDonald's now.
Yeah.
And you see
The manager.
The manager. Potential serial killer?
Yeah, like, you never
It could
know.
be that normal.
He could be that normal.
He's serving you a hamburger.
Honestly. Yeah, guys, it's crazy, but yeah.
Yeah, I think we just leave it there.
Yeah, there's not much more to say. It's just, guys, always ask where your kids are. Always see where they are, because you never know. Like, I know this is horrible to say, but it happens more often than you think.
Yeah, definitely.
So,
yeah.
Jane Wayne Gacy, the killer clown, in the Mind series, going strong.
Yeah, going strong. Ep 3. More episodes to come.
More episodes to come. So yeah, share,
I've been your
subscribe.
co-host Sylvester. You've been MJ.
MJ here.
Yeah.
Guys. Martin and Callum selling out. We'll see you later. Next time on
The Raspy Apple Podcast. Peace.